Okay, today we are going to discuss about the LSMW. Okay, so if you remember earlier, we mentioned that in real time, okay, once we complete all the configuration, we need to transfer the data from old system to SAP system, right? So what we can call, we need to transfer the data from old system, which we call it as a legacy system to SAP system to SAP system. Okay, so for this, we will use the one of the tool. Okay, in SAP as a functional side, as functional consultant, we are going to use the LSMWs. Okay, LSMW is nothing but legacy system migration workbench, which means this tool used to transfer the data from another system to SAP. Okay, so for this we need to do some configuration. So once we perform the complete configuration, we can transfer the data. Okay, so as of now, we have created the SA vendor setup, right? So from XK01, we have created the vendors, right? So just take an example. Earlier, we are using some other ERP system. Okay, so we had a thousands of vendors, right? So the thousands of vendors data we need to upload in SAP. No need to create, we cannot create the thousands of vendors data with the help of XK01, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to transfer the data from legacy system to SAP system. Okay. So for this, what I need to do, this is the tool. Okay, so just we need to create the object here. Okay, so this is the tool here. What are the things we need to create? We need to take it as a project. Okay, we need to tell the system what is the project and what is the sub project and what are the objects. Okay, so first we need to give these details, and after that we need to do the field mapping. Field mapping is nothing but this is my legacy system. Okay, so in legacy system in XK01 or some vendor master data, right? In vendor master data. Okay, vendor master data. So in legacy system, we have some other fields. In SAP, we have some other fields, right? So for example, in vendor master data in legacy, we will call a vendor number. Okay, vendor number field is mentioned as vendor number. Okay, NUM. Okay, but here in SAP, it was mentioned as vendor number, but the both are same, right? So we will tell you the system, what are the fields available in the legacy system and what are the fields available in the SAP, so that we can perform the mapping. Okay, after the mapping, the system can identify which fields is how the system can take the fields from legacy to SAP. Okay, so for this, what I need to do, I need to create the project. Project name is, for example, TAMA. Okay, TAMA for vendor master data upload. Okay, so just I click on it. Next, it is asking the sub project, right? Sub project, I will tell you this when VEN. Okay, I will mention as VEN. Here I'll mention as vendor master data. Okay, in Excel, for our reference, I'm mentioning the project name is, what is our project name? TAMA, right? Sub project means in this project, what is the sub project? VEN. VEN is my sub project. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I mean, step by step we can discuss. When I click on sub project, it is asking the object, right? So I'm going to create in the first step what I'm going to create the project and sub project, and what is my object. I will tell you xk01, right? So I'm telling the system I'm creating the vendor master data upload from legacy system. Okay, object name is xk01, or else you can take zxk01, anything is fine. Okay, for reference purpose I will mention zxk01. Okay, I created this one, right? So when I click on continue, we have the steps. Okay, so we are going to discuss the 20 step one by one. Okay, so for the configuration point of view, we need to perform these six steps, right? So I will take a screenshot. So we can go the all the steps one by one. As I mentioned, okay, these complete, we have a 20 steps, right? In the 20 steps, from 7th step onwards, we need to upload the file. Okay, before this we need to perform the configuration, right? But we can go one by one, then we can understand. Okay, so if I click on double maintain objects, right? So maintain object is nothing but I have created an object, right? I have created an object. What is my object name? This one, zxk01, right? In a system I'm telling that I'm maintaining the object, right? So I'm telling the system how the data is coming, from legacy system to SAP, right? So I'm telling the system how the data is coming. I'm doing some recording. Okay, I'm recording these sessions. In the same way, I'm doing some recording. With the help of that recording, it is performing. Okay, here we can maintain the recording, but before we maintain this object import method is nothing but we are telling the system how this import will be done from legacy system to SAP, right? So we need to select the batch input session, and here we need to make it the recording name, but we are not yet recorded any session. That is the reason I will go back. Okay, so after that I will go to here. I mentioned the project, sub project, object, right? Here I have option of recording. Now I will record the everything, right? Recording. Okay, then I will click on new recording. Okay, create a new recording. What is my recording name? I need to take any name. Okay, I will take xk01, right? This is my transactional code. That is the reason I'm using the same. Okay, if I want to use zf xk01 also fine. Okay, recording for xk01, right? So I click on this. What is the transactional code for this vendor setup? xk01, right? So what we are trying to do, we are trying to upload, we are trying to upload the data from legacy to SAP, and with the help, the transaction code which we are using, xk01 for vendor creation, right? So I will use the xk01. So what will all the steps which I'm going to do, the system is capturing what I'm doing. Okay, so I click on xk01, the vendor is created, right? So the vendor setup screen will come. What is my company code? TAMA, right? After that, what is my account group? I will take it as any foreign or domestic account group. Okay, I have taken up F4TM, my foreign account group. Okay, 4TM. When I click on it, my title, what are the mandatory fields? Country. Just try to remember what are the fields I'm entering. Country and postal code, for example, what I can enter. Love something. Okay, 11. Next, customer is not required. Reconciliation account 3000. Cash management group A1. So if you're able to recall, we entered only account vendor company code. Up after that we entered account group. After that we entered country code and regional code, reconciliation account and cash account group, right? So after that what I will do, I will save this. I have saved the data. Okay, so when I click on this save, the record has been saved, right? So which means when just I will click on the default all. So this is the data which I entered, right? Because as I mentioned earlier, this is the technical name. Company code, the technical name is Bookers. Okay. So vendor name technical is KTOKK, vendor account group. Okay. So this is the data which I entered, right? So only for the sample data I entered in the system, right? So when I click on this, just go, the record was saved, just click on the save. Okay. The sample data saved and back. Now execute. Okay, maintain our object attributes, which means that double click on this. Now I'm telling the system with the help of the batch, I'm just uploading the file. I'm transferring the data from legacy to SAP, right? So it is asking the recording name. Okay, what is the recording name? This is the record which we created, right? So when I give this x ZFK01, when I click on this with the help of the transactional code, I save the recording name of ZFK01. In that ZFK01, I did the vendor creation of from XK01, right? So the system will recorded the transaction. I mean all the screens which I did. Okay, the recording saved with the help of, with the in the name of ZFK01, right? So I will copy this and I will tell you this. The system batch input recording is this one. Okay, it was saved. I will click on save, back, maintain attributes. Now I created the object attributes. Object attributes means nothing but I created a project, sub project, object, right? So I created these three: project, what is my project, and what is my sub project, what is my object, right? In after I selecting the object, I'm telling the system I did some recording, right? What is my recording? Which is nothing but in XK01, I created a vendor master data and all the recording saved within the name of ZFXK01, right? After that, I'm creating some source structure. Okay. When I click on source structure, there's a display mode, edit mode. I have to create one source structure. Okay. So I'm telling that as I mentioned earlier, source structure is nothing but we are our final intention is to map the legacy system to SAP, right? So which means source to target. Okay. So here I will give some name ZXK001. Okay, I will mention the source structure ZXK001. Okay, this is my source structure. I will copy this. I'll go back, maintain store structure. So I have created a source structure, right? But in a source, what are the fields we have? So just select this and object overview. Okay, the list of the fields. Okay, if you're able to understand, these are the fields which we entered, right? Let me open a table format, open it a table format. Okay, so if you observe in XK01, I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you're able to recall in XK01, what are the fields we entered? Company code, right? Vendor account group, right? Country key, region, reconciliation account, planning group, that A1, right? Only these are the fields which we entered, right? So what I will do, just I will copy this, or future reference purpose, I will copy this. So if you're able to understand, this is the technical name, Bookers and KTOKK, and this you can ignore these two. It is that only tab name and T code. So the system is telling that which T code we use, XK01 we use. Okay, it was a character. Okay, so you are able to understand the difference between character and integer, right? So integer is nothing but when we have a numerical value, we can call it as a integer. Okay, when we have a alphabetical way, we can treat it as a character. Okay, the character will start with C. Okay, here the length was they provided. The table name is 30 length and company code length is 4. What is our company code length? TAMA, right? It is 4 length. Right? Account group which we used is F4TM, right? F4TM. Okay, so country key is I used IN, right? So regional state, I think I used 21 but not sure. Okay, so reconciliation is 3000. Okay, the planning group which we entered is A1, right? This is the information I entered at the time of XK01 in this recording, right? So when I'm trying to source the field, automatically system mentioned what I was entered, right? These are the fields which I entered and which I recorded, right? So now go back, maintain source fields. Just click on this. This is the field planning group, reconciliation, everything. Okay, I will select this. Here what I need to do, I need to do the perform the mapping, right? So what are the fields we entered and what is the description of the fields, right? So what are the fields we entered? These are the technical fields, right? Because these are the technical fields which we entered. Okay, we are telling the system these are the fields I entered, and the type is nothing but it is a alphanumeric, which is character, right? That is the reason I'm mentioning the C. Okay, so I will copy from here. Here I will mention as C. So copy one by one. In this maintain attributes, I'm telling the system like what is this my technical name and what is the field name. Okay, field description is you can copy this company code and everything. To get this data earlier, I just took the table value and I copied in Excel, and the same data I'm maintaining as a field names. Okay, so source field names, input field contains prohibited characters on the input field contains spacing issue. Okay, so just what I did, just try to recall the things. Okay, I created a hello. Yeah, okay.
Yes, I.
Yeah, 1 minute, 1 minute. I think there is some network issue. Okay, so in a maintain objects, we created the maintain objects, right? So if you try to recall in a maintain objects, I'm telling the system I have recorded the one transactional code. So you need to take this as a batch input session. Okay, that in this session I mentioned the recording. That after that, what I did, after that I created one source structure. What is my source structure? I created one source structure like ZXK002. Just keep a note of this. I created a source structure as ZXK002. Right after that, we have maintained the relationship with the source structure. Right. Okay. Yeah. Here we did. Sorry. In source field, I'm telling the system these are my technical fields and this is the type of this. What is the character and this is my length. Right. This is the thing I need to do. But before doing this, I took the data from there. Okay. So after that, maintain a structure relationship. Okay. If you click on this, we maintained a relation between ZF XK001 with ZXK001, right? So if I go back to my Excel, system is trying to understand that, okay, the fields available in ZF XK0001 should be mapped with ZXK001, right? To try right, if you understand the recording session, okay, the system is trying to understand the recording session is mapped with this source, the source which we created just now, right? So I'm just mapping with this recording session fields with the my source field. Okay, so that is the reason we have this mapping recording session of. So when I click on save data, save, maintain mapping conversion rule. So when I click on enter company code, okay, here we need to do the manual mapping or else auto field mapping. Okay, when I click on this, automatically it will take the technical names. Okay, accept proposal. If you have understand, target field is TXK. This is the vendor group number, right? So it is taking the ZFXK01. What is the ZFXK01? So recording. Okay, from the recording field, it is taking the source field. Okay, okay, you can find ZFXK FXK01 and ZFXK001, right? So it is doing the mapping, right? It's completed. Need to do anything here, just click on it, put the cursor on this. As of now, what we created the source field and source field structure and everything, right? So now I go back to source field and this is my data, right? Company, vendor account number, country. Okay, so I will just copy this. I'll go to any Excel file, pay special, transport. Okay, so try to understand if this is the data which we received from the old system. Okay, so when we receive any data from the old system, usually the end users will prepare the data. Okay, they will download the data from their old system and they will prepare the data in this format given by us, because this is, if you try to understand, this is the recording which did, right? Company code, vendor account group, country key, region, reconciliation, planning group, right? So what I'm to do, as of now, we have done the complete configuration, right? So part of the we have created the object and we have mentioned the source structure and we have mentioned the source fields at the technical field, and after that we maintain the relationship between together, right? In a relationship, we maintain the auto field mapping, so that what will happen from the source field mapped with the target field, right? So now I click on specify files. tabler. Okay, so here before uploading the data, I should have the data, right? So I will mention PAMJ is my company code, right? So I will take this number. I will upload 20, for example, 20. What is my account group? F4TM. Right. Just type it down. Source field. Okay, specify files, select. Okay, what is my account? F4 TM. So I want to create only 20 vendors. Country is IN, right? State 21, 3000, A1. So I want to create this 20 fans. Okay, if I want to put the header column, I can put the header, or else I can save all this thing in the any notepad format also fine. Okay, so save as, header, upload. Okay, this is the file which I created. After that, in this system, just I'm giving the file name, right? So what is the file name? Specify files, as I mentioned. From the seventh step onwards, and upload. Okay, from the tablet. Okay, when I from the seventh step onwards, I'm just uploading that file. Okay, as of till the sixth step, I did the configuration. From the seventh step onwards, I uploading that LSM mass upload file. Okay, which I received from the end users. Okay, so when I click on assign files, just double click on it, just it will assign the file of that, nothing. Okay, save. That read the data, just it will read the data. Here when I execute, it is telling the 19 entries found, right? How many entries are there? Total 19 entries. Without including the header, it is 19 entries, right? After that, display rate data. From which line it is want to take. So if we have a header data in your file, for example, if you have a header data in your file, you can mention two numbers. So from so that the two number onwards, it will take the actual data. But I don't have any header data in my txt file. That is the reason I'm taking the blank, right? So this is my data. Okay, so clicking back, convert the data, the 19 records one. Okay, so these are all the end user transactions only. For example, this is the only, from this point, from sixth step before, I did the configuration. From the seventh step onwards, I'm just uploading the data, I'm just validating the data. Okay, so display converted the data from which line onwards. Okay, so this is the data which is about to enter. Okay, this is the technical names. Okay, source structure. Okay, and everything. When I click on back, create a batch put input system. Earlier we want to upload the data from batch, right? So batch is nothing but when all the files are combined together, we can call it as a one single batch, right? So when I click on this, execute, I don't want to execute. Okay, one input batch folder created with 19 transactions are created, right? So if I open this, we have a 19 transactions, right? So I will click on this run batch. Okay, when I click on this run batch, this is my batch, right? when I process, I want to process the foreground. Okay, so foreground is nothing but in front screen. If you want to execute this program or execute this transaction, we can call it as a foreground. Okay, if I click on the background, this all the program and transaction will run automatically in the background, right? So just I want to run in the foreground. Okay, so in expert mode or extend any mode is fine. Process, just try to understand how the system is posting the data one by one, right? The company code is TAMA. With the help of that Excel, it was uploaded the TAMA and the account group is F4TM, right? So I will click on enter. Now, country is automatically selected as IN and regional is selected as 21, right? Now, the reconciliation account already automatically selected as a 3000 and the cash management group was selected as A1. So these data was directly picked by the Excel or the TXT file or Excel which we uploaded, right? Okay. So now I will click on this. Just I will click on enter, 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 so that you can understand how this screen is going. So if I can exclude the same in the background also, but you cannot understand what are the thing how the system is performing, right? So I'm not doing anything. I'm just clicking on enter so that it is automatically creating the vendors, right? How many vendors are going to create? 19 vendors are going to create, right?
I have a doubt. So if we do it in background, the process will be same. We will
Yes,
just not
process
be
will
able
be
to
same.
see, right?
Process will be same. But if you do it in background, you cannot know what are the things are happening in a print screen, right? That is the reason. For your information, I did it in the foreground. Got
I am not audible. Yeah.
hello, I'm audible, right?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, yes. Okay. So what I'm trying to explain, like in background also you can do, but you cannot see what are the things are going, right? So that is the reason only I executed in the foreground. Okay. If you want to perform, you can do
Okay.
in the background also. Okay.
Okay.
But let
Also, I have a doubt.
yes.
If the data is missing, then also it will go without error. Suppose two or
Yeah, if
three
it is
vendors
data is
don't have
missing,
continuity.
yeah, 1 minute. If the data is missing, when you open this foreground, right, SM35 is a transactional code for this batch input sessions. Okay, so if anything is missing, you can find it this. For example, incorrect. The data was incorrect. So what would you can reprocess it. When you are going to reprocess, you can mention in the foreground so that you can understand what is the data is missing, right?
Right.
Example, yeah, let me try to understand. Okay, just I'm explaining the systematic way. Okay, So you're talking about
Sai,
the
your screen is not visible.
uh, stop the screen. Now visible, right?
Yes, Sai.
Hello. So actually I'm talking about the actual functionality which we are going to do. Okay, so if you're saying that, for example, we have received the I mean, we uploaded all the transactions, right? So when I'm uploading the batch with the help of the uploading all the files with the help of the batch. Okay, so I can check that batch in SM35 transaction code, right? So in SM35 I can do, as I mentioned, this is the SM35. Okay, in LSMW also, in the last tab, last step, when we are trying to run, it will go to the this SM35 batch session. Okay, so in foreground is nothing but you can execute the same in the foreground also, the background also. But the technically, when we have a huge data, okay, when we have a huge data, we cannot execute all the batches in the foreground, right? So that is the reason in a real time usually suggested to execute in the background, right? So in our example, we have only 19 transactions, right? Hello.
Right.
So we have a 19 transactions, so that we can, for every transaction, we click on click next. So for example, we have a thousands of transactions. Okay, so when we are receiving the batch, I mentioned, when we are receiving the data from another system to this system, when we are uploading file, if we have a thousands of transactions, we can, as per the business requirement, they will suggest to run in the background. Okay, okay. So now you're telling that if you have any issue in the data, for example, the data country region is IN, right? But the end user may be provided, okay, for example, end user provides the incorrect vendor account group, which is not available in the system, right? So that what will happen, the entire batch will fail, right? For this transaction, the entire batch will, I mean, entire batch or this respective transaction will be failed. Okay, at that time, what I need to do, and SM35, we need to understand what are the batch was failed, and again we need to click on process, and we can execute in the foreground, right? In the foreground we can correct it if we know the exact value of that data, right? And got it?
Got it.
Okay, so as of actually this, how you receive this data, for example, this company code, vendor group, country key, regional reconciliation. So all the data I have provided, right? Once I do the configuration, this is my header data, right? This is my header data. I provided this header data to my business users, right? So once I provided this header data to business users, so they gave me this data. What is the how many company codes they have, and what are the vendor account groups they have, and what is the country key and regional number, reconciliation account, planning group. If they have a vendor number also, they can enter the vendor number also, right? So they will give the complete data, right? So what I'm doing, I receive the data from user, I mean business, and I am uploading the data which I received from the business, right? So if any issue in the data, I cannot take the decision, right? I can go to the SM35, but I need to ask the business what was the correct data, right? Hello.
Right.
If I, for example,
Mm.
F14, we don't have any account group. For the second tab or the second transaction, vendor account group is blank. So I cannot comment what was the account group for that, because the data is related to the legacy system, right? So LSMW is nothing but the data transfer from another system to another system. Or else, if you want to upload any mass uploads also, we can use this transaction code. Okay, for example, we need to upload the asset related transactions. Okay, for example, if we want to upload any cost related transactions like KP26 and everything. Okay, so all these things we can do this for data mass uploads, and also for the data transfer we can use this LSMW in ECC. Okay, so to perform this LSMW, okay, if I click on LSMW, now I have already project is created, sub project is created, object is created, right? What is my project? When I'm entering this detail, the system will tell you. For example, my project is same. But in a TAMA company code, I have another sub project, which means this is for vendor master data. I can create another sub project as GL related, right? For the GL, how we create in FS00 manually. If I want to create a 100 of GLs, right? I will create another sub project which related to the GL, and the sub project is linked with this another object. Got it? Under same project we have a different sub project and different objects. Okay, so when I click on execute, so this is the steps which we did: maintain objects we created and source structure we created. After that, we created a source structure and we are telling the system what are the source fields. Okay, these are my source fields. Okay, technical name I mentioned, company code, vendor account name, country, and these are my source field. After that, we maintained a relationship between the source field and the target field, right? After that, we maintain the auto mapping. Auto mapping is the system will identify, for example, system will identify this first field is related to the company code, second field is related to the vendor account group. The system will automatically identify. After that, in the seventh step onwards, we uploaded the file. Got it? We take the data from third step and we
Yes.
uploaded the file, and that file uploaded in the SAP, right? So if I open XK03, what is my vendor group? 9. Created till 9001. So I will check 9003, company code, TAMA. I need to check what does the data which was created SM35. Sorry, every button is not working in my laptop. So I will enter LFA1. Okay, this is the data which we created, right? 905, 906, 907. Okay, this is the data automatically created with the help of the LSMW, right? So if I open XK03, 906, number is incorrect. Okay, got it. Okay, right? So this is the data which I created with the help of LSMW. I did not created the vendor 19 vendors manually, right? So, but with the help of LSMW, I directly created 19 vendors, right? So in the same way, you can upload the data, or if you want to transfer the data from Excel to SAP, but you need to mention in the same way. Here I recorded the session for XK01. If you want to do the GL creation, you have to use the T code FS00. If you want to do the asset related, you have to use the asset related transaction, right? Got it?
Got it.
Here I mentioned the recording session name is ZFXK01. The T code which I used XK01. Okay, if you want to create the GL, you can use the T code FS00. Okay, so if you want to do KP26, for example, in KP26 manually we will update the, for example, this is related to the CO type side. Okay, slash n KP26. Okay, so here we will maintain the rates. Okay, manually we will maintain the rates. What is the fine version and what is the first period, January to December, fiscal year, cost center, activity type. Okay, so here we will maintain all the rates manually, right? So if you want to do from LSMW, what I need to do here, I need to use the transaction code as KP26. Okay, so in this LSMW, what I did first, I created one sample data. In that sample data, I did some recording. After the recording, I created one source structure with the name of ZXK001. But after that, I did my mapping with my source fields and also the recordings, right? So after that, I uploaded the file using the specific parameters. Got it? What you can also do, I will share one document with all the steps. I mean, as of now we did all the steps, but I will share the same thing in the document, so you can also try from your end.